today? My name is Shannon and this is my YouTube channel, Whiskyandwool. This is my series called Cast On With Me, episode 2. I am going to spend some time casting on swatches today, and I'm going to give you a little insight into some future projects that I'm thinking about knitting. I have one that I'm on the fence about, so I think swatching will really help me decide whether or not I want to do it. I am wearing I don't even know if you can really see too well. It's a black sweater. I love to wear black. I mention that all the time. It's a black linen sweater. The Daily Pullover by Paula Pereira. It's probably like the 4th or 5th one that I've made. I made this 2 years ago out of field linen, Purl Soho field linen. I don't know if that yarn is still available. It actually, like, linen is a fabric that gets softer and softer as you wash it. So every washing, it just gets softer. It's one of my favorite fabrics for warm weather. It is probably my favorite fabric for warm weather. I have linen sheets and a linen bedspread. I love linen. And lots of linen clothing. It does wear out fast, though, I will say. Not the bedding, but I have a bunch of linen t-shirts, and I probably only get 1 or 2 years of wear out of that before, of course, I'm wearing them all the time, before they start to fall apart. Unrepairable. Like, I've repaired them too, embroidered, visibly mended them, and they just keep falling apart in other places, and yeah. So, but that's fine. That's what clothing is supposed to do. It's supposed to fall apart and be mended and get to the point where it's, because it biodegrades and it's a natural fabric and fiber, and it's good for our environment when things biodegrade, unlike plastics and polyester and things that are worrisome, that we're all gonna just be walking receptacles of plastic soon. Anyway, things I think about. Okay, I have all my windows open because it's very hot in my apartment today. They haven't turned the heat off yet, and it's very warm out. It's not very warm. It's like in the mid 60s today, and they still have the heat on. So, and I can't turn off the heat completely. I wish I could, but I have the windows open. I have a couple fans on, and yeah, so hopefully there won't be too much background noise from outside. There'll be a little bit. You might hear sirens and stuff. Anyway, there are 3 sweaters on my mind to make. I need to swatch for all of them if I want, before I cast on, of course. So I'm going to go through those. There is a accessory I want to make, and yeah, that's about it. But let me talk to you about what I am interested in making. And I think this is what I'm going to swatch right now while we hang out together. I purchased this Qing Fibre Dashing DK in the colorway Yellow Yellow at a sale in February that Qing had. She was doing 20% off, and then I had a coupon for an additional 10%, I think, off. And she told us that was from buying her Advent, and she told us we could stack the discounts, so I was able to get a bigger discount. So I bought a sweater's quantity of this DK weight with the idea that I would make the Traveler hoodie by Andrea Mowry, and I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's a good color for me. I'm warm toned, so warm tone colors are harmonious on my skin. I have to steer clear of cool colors like cool red and burgundy and navy. Those are too cool. I'm not supposed to wear black technically, but I love black, and I actually think it looks fine. Someone told me that black looks good on bright springs, which I'm a bright spring, so there you go. Anyway, sweater's quant right here. I caked one. That's one project. My second project that I have in my mental queue is the gym sweater by Irene Lynn. I think it's gym sweater. Sorry, I have everything piled over here. And yeah, Irene Lynn. It's an all over lace, boxy sweater, all over lace. Interesting about this, I don't think I'm going to swatch this with you today. I will swatch it at some point. It is, the reason why is because it requires reading a chart to do, and I already have 2 sweaters on the needles where I need to read a chart. So I don't want a third where I need to read a chart. So, and the Traveler hoodie is just a textured knit. It's a very easy repeat to remember. So I don't think I'm gonna, that's fine. Like that's what I need to be the companion knit to these 2 other ones where I'm reading a chart. One of them is almost done. One of those things that I'm reading a chart is almost done. So the gym sweater by Irene Lynn, interesting pattern. It is the smallest chest circumference for the pattern is 50 inches, and you're meant to wear it with, like, I don't know, 12 or 15 inches of positive ease. I don't know if I'm going to make it that big. I'll do a generous amount of ease, but probably somewhere around 8 inches of positive ease. Actually, if I make the smallest one, it'll give me about 9 inches of positive ease. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. Anyway, I purchased this for my birthday as a birthday gift to me. This is, purchased a sweater's quantity of Lamb and Kid Island Bunny color. Lamb and Kid Todd worsted. I think it's Todd worsted. Wait, I have a thing right here, a tag right here. I should just pull it out so I can actually tell you about it. Yes, Todd worsted. It's very expensive yarn, so it was very much a splurge. Yes, Island Bunny is the color. It's a yak cashmere blend. I splurged on this because last year I made, I think it was last year, a while ago, I made a sweater using Lamb and Kid Todd DK, and I love that sweater. The feel of it, I wear it all the time, and the colors are fine. Like, the colors are my colors. They're up my alley. But it's not the colors that make me grab it. It's the hand. It's the way it feels. So I figured it was well worth splurging on a nice neutral, and I think this gym sweater by Irene Lynn is just going to look so good in this yarn. So excited about that. I'll probably swatch that some other time. More so just because it'll really require concentration. Okay, this last one that I'm thinking about is by a Qing Fibre pattern, and it is called Checkmate Zodiac. And what is fun about this pattern is that in probably not last year, because last year I was very obsessed with moving, very consumed, I shouldn't say obsessed, but very consumed with the fact that I was moving, so shopping for a place to live and then physically moving and then getting settled in. So I think it was the year before I saw big checkered patterned sweaters on, I'm going to pop some pictures here on screen, in runway shots. Like, I can't remember whose sweater I saw, but I had some, I posted them on Pinterest. I use Pinterest whenever I am so inspired. I don't do it regularly, but I will make mood boards, and I'll make like for whatever, for home furnishings or for clothing or whatever. And I found some checkered sweaters, some big squared checkered sweaters that were like bright colors and white. So like bright yellow and white, bright blue and white, bright green and white. And I've been a little, like, it's been in the back of my mind for a while. And then I thought I might design my own pattern for it, to do this. But like, things, you know, went in a certain direction last year and I got very consumed by having to move. And then I saw that Qing came out with this pattern. Now her pattern is designed to be knit with fingering or lace weight in a very loose gauge, like using 6mm or 5mm needles, US size 10 or US size 8 needles, 8 for the ribbing, I guess. And she made it a certain silhouette. And she didn't do the white and bright like I want to do. She did the like 2 contrasting colors or like 2 clashing colors. Some interesting things like that. The other thing about her spec is that these are on her website. You can check them out yourself if you want to see more closely. But you can see that it's crop and it has a bell sleeve. I don't want either of those things. I don't want it to be cropped, nor do I want bell sleeves. But I do appreciate the work that was already done for this sweater. I mean, this would be an intarsia sweater, and when I read through the description of the pattern construction, it is each band of checks, vertical bands of checks, are knit just one band, and then they're stitched together. So each time you're seeing, when you're seeing them across this way, they're being joined. There's lines joining them, which is interesting. I hadn't thought about that type of construction. I had thought more about like true intarsia construction, where you would have bobbins. But it occurred to me that I could probably do 2 bands together. So a white square and a blue square, and then the next, like after knitting so many rows, I could flip it over and do a white band and a blue band, or a white stretch and a blue stretch, like alternating. So at least it wouldn't be seaming as much. Yeah, I don't know if this is one that I'm not sure is going to work. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if it's going to be a mistake to make. I'm definitely, like, the more I think about it, and maybe I'll know more after I swatch, the more I think about it, the more I think I'm going to probably just do my own draft, my own pattern draft, because her pattern's not going to work for me anyway. And I don't quite like the way they did the neck. I would need to modify that. So I would also need to modify the sleeves. Yeah, I think I might be better off just doing my own pattern drafting. But I mean, I appreciate the work she did in the pattern. I haven't purchased it yet, but I've just downloaded the spec sheets, and just so I could gauge, swatch, and see. And I also don't think I'm going to end up on a 10mm needle. I think I'm going to be more like in the 4 to 6mm range with this, if that even. I don't know. I'm feeling rather a lot of trepidation about this, but you could tell me. I would really appreciate hearing what you think. I'll tell you about the yarn. This is stash yarn I have in my stash. So I didn't buy this. So I do have this really gorgeous blue. This is what you saw me caking in the morning. I mean, earlier in this clip. So the blue is some Jill Draper Ansel yarn, and I think the colorway is indigo. I'll put it on screen. I do have the tag in here. I just know I can't get it back in if I pull it out, and I just want to leave it in there for now. I hadn't worked with this yarn before, and she's since discontinued it. You might be able to find some of the last bits on her website if you are a Jill Draper fan. it has a little bit of a nubby quality to it, which I was unexpected for me. I didn't know. I don't know if you could see it. Yeah, I think you can. You see the irregularity to the strand? It almost looks like it's pilled already, which I'm kind of like, not what I wanted. And this white is left over from my Scottish check sweater. So I don't know. I might actually be better off making the Scottish check using these two colors. That's an idea. It would be pretty, right? I'd have to buy more white mohair. Or not. Scottish check is a black and white sweater that I made. My most recent finished object, actually. So yeah, those are what I am planning to swatch. And then my other plan, I'm wrapping up the socks that I have on the needles. So I thought I would cast on a new small travel project, and I'm planning to make the Traveler Cowl by Andrea Mowry because she designed it for Handspun out of some of my Handspun. This is like a really pretty heather black that is all the pretty colors, but when it's far away it looks like a charcoal gray or black. Not quite black, but pretty good. And I am making these as Christmas gifts for my son and his wife. And this is Handspun. I've talked about this Handspun. I spun it earlier this year. It is by John Arbin Textiles, and it is from their Down the Allotment specials that they did last year in the colorway Welly Boot. They do specials. They do specials every year for their anniversary. This one is a 33% merino, 33 BFL, and 33% Jacob blend. So it was fun to spin. So those are my future projects, I think. I'm not sure about the blue and white one. That blue isn't really bright either. It's more of a deep, dark cobalt blue. Yeah, I'm probably gonna push that to the side. All right, I brought over my needle pouch so I could freely, oh my goodness, my boys are having a little bickering moment right now. little sibling tiff. I'm gonna take a moment to film it so you can see what I'm watching. I'll put it in over, I'll lay it over. I don't know why my little guy does this. And where are her instructions for the stitch pattern? Oh, this is a bottom up. Okay. I kind of didn't want to do a bottom up. I was hoping it would be top down. I'm doing a bottom up right now. And every time I do a bottom up, I always realize that I really don't enjoy doing bottom up as much as I enjoy doing top down. Okay, sorry. I print out the patterns because I just prefer to look at paper than try to open my phone and find. It's faster to find it this way than to open my phone and try to find it. All the logging on and passwords and I don't like all that. You can just pull out a piece of paper and take a look. All right, anyway, my short 16-inch I got my short 16-inch needle. I'm making bread right now, and my alarm just went off telling me that I have to go knead the bread. It's one last time, so I'm gonna just put a pause in here while I run and do that. I'm back. I just went to go knead the bread one last time. Now it will sit and bulk rise for the next few hours, so I won't be interrupted again. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch for the Traveler hoodie. When I'm swatching, I do backwards loop cast on, which is just, holding it like this, like you loop it over your thumb and then just catch that loop in a backwards way on your needle. So the gauge is 21.5 stitches equals 4 inches. So I'm going to cast on about 32, I'd say 32 to give me some extra on either side. We are 32. I told you it's a DK, yes, yeah. On a US size 5 or 3.75 needle. That's what's recommended by the pattern. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. About you, but I lease cars. I've been leasing cars since my mid-20s. So I am on, my lease just ended on my current car, and I got my new one, picked up my new one this past week. It is my 7th Mini Cooper, and for the Mini, I had at least 4 other cars. 2 Acuras, then 2 Toyotas. And then I went to Mini. I love Minis. I really love my Mini. It's really good quality for the good value. It's good value. And it's really a zippy little car. It's great for this urban environment I live in. But I took the plunge and got an electric car. So New Jersey has committed to being, I forget what it is, how they termed it, but basically they are committed to building electric car infrastructure, and they really want New Jersey residents to be nearly all driving electric cars by the year 2032, I think is what it is. So there's a lot of incentives right now to buy and lease electric cars, not only by the federal government, but also by my state government. So I went ahead and took the plunge. And then the other factor was that Mini Cooper, the model that I drive has been phased out of gas already. So they stopped making gas versions of it, and they're only making electric versions, and they're slowly going to be converting their entire production line over to electric cars, I think. I mean, I think they'll probably have some holdouts with the gas cars for some time, but 2 of their models are going over to all electric in the coming year, and you can't get a gas version of either one of them anymore unless they're used or older models. So that was another factor. I could have gotten a gas car of a different version, but I just thought like all the signs were pointing towards getting a gas or getting an electric car. So it's very exciting. I've had it about a week. The thing I'm still getting used to the limited mileage the price, the cost to drive the car is it's a fraction. It costs me $1 to charge. The idea is that you charge your car when you're doing other things. So I can charge my car while I'm at work, or I can charge it while I'm home. But because I live in an apartment building, I can't use my own electric, my home electric, to charge. I need to go to a charging station. And there's a charging station right across the street from where I live. And it's a little on the expensive side. It's the most expensive I've seen, where it's $3 an hour. Whereas my charger at work is 25 cents an hour. So for $1 for 4 hours, I can charge my car. It's just crazy to me. So $1 versus like $40 in gas. Of course, I can only go a quarter of the way. So $4 versus 40. So 10%. I'm paying 10% of what I used to for fuel. The problem with backwards cast on is that it's really hard to get the needle. Even though I have really sharp needles, I'm having trouble not splitting the yarn as I shove the needle through. I don't know if that happens to you. So this first row is always a little bit tedious. So yeah, that's insane to me and exciting, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be saving so much money. And yeah, I love that. The other thing is that the current model that I have, I bought their latest model of 2024. They won't be making this car in 2025 because they're converting to yet another sort of manufacturer structure where the car will have more mileage. It'll be able to go twice as far as what mine can go. Mine can only go 100 miles when it's fully charged. The next round will be able to go over 200 miles when it's fully charged. So when I turn this lease in 3 years, there should be like some significant changes in the mileage, which will be exciting. So yeah, that part, that's only a factor. The mileage is only a factor for me for road trips. Oh my gosh, I must have split the yarn when I made the loop because I cannot seem to get the knit stitch done without splitting the yarn. There we go. Yeah, so if I take a road trip that's more than 100 miles, which that's pretty rare. There is my friend who has a house out in the Hamptons, New York, the beach community that's way out at the end of Long Island, if you know your geography. That is about 97 miles from where I live. And which means I literally have to leave with a full charge, and I will be like getting there on fumes. So I already decided that when I go out there next weekend, I will be stopping at some point for an hour or two to get more juice. And you know, the nice thing about the area I live in, New Jersey and New York, is that they are building infrastructure like crazy. So their initial infrastructure. Oh my God, this is driving me nuts. I really can't seem to get past. All right, I'm just gonna pull that stitch off, and I'll just have one less stitch. Yeah, so what I noticed is that a lot of the charging stations are at town halls or libraries, or put in by organizations like corporations. Like here in my neighborhood, a lot of the apartment building complexes that have parking also have charging stations. And that's what the situation is with the one that's across the street from my house. But my town also puts them in. They're just a little far from me right now. They put their first set of 12 in the most busiest section, like the downtown section of the town. And it's about a mile and a half from where I live, so it's not really convenient to like go over there, plug my car in, and then what do I do for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours? And I could walk back home, or I could shop for a couple hours, something like that. But I don't often shop in my downtown district. I might go there for the post office or something like that. But yeah, so I'm mostly charging at work because that's so convenient, because I'm usually on campus about 6 hours, which gives me, 4 to 6 hours to charge every other day, every second or third day. Whew, I made it through that. Made it through that first row. Wow. That was a lot. And yeah, it's been pretty great. It's been pretty great. I really have had a very easy time. And, the coin dropped for me when I realized that you're not charging your car all the time. It's just like, I guess, phones in a way, right? Like your phone isn't being charged all the time, the entire time you're not using it. And same with the car. So like my car could sit on the street with a partial charge, and when I get in it after 2 or 3 days of it sitting in the same spot, I have about the same charge. I might have lost a mile or so, but it's not bad. So I'm excited to see how this all goes and to like adjust to being an electric car driver. On Long Island, the drive to the Hamptons, there is a lane that's dedicated to people that are driving electric vehicles or carpooling. So I'll get to be in that lane. What's cool about it for an electric vehicle is that you use less electric, you use less of your battery power when you stay a steady speed. Like the needle goes all the way down when you're just cruising. It's the acceleration that really uses a lot of, like if you're accelerating, decelerating, like if I were in heavy traffic or something like that, that really uses up the juice. Like when I go into work, what I've noticed, I use a lot more battery power going into work than I do coming home. And because I'm going into work during rush hour and I'm coming home just outside of rush hour, so it's not, so I'm able to maintain a steadier speed. Plus, I kind of feel like it's downhill when I'm coming home. I feel like it's a lot more downhill than uphill. I think I drive a little bit uphill getting to campus. Anyway, how about you? Are you driving an electric car already? I mean, they've been around for a long time, for about a decade. And it just felt like the time was right for me to get one now. I'm glad I talked through the upcoming projects with you, because I think I've pretty much decided I'm not going to do that Qing sweater, the check sweater. I'm a little too dubious about it, but I don't know. I'm still interested in what you think. I don't think those are the right yarns. for that pattern. I don't think, like, now that I'm looking at them sitting there, I don't think they're crisp enough. I think the white is okay, but I think the blue should be brighter, or whatever color I use. Like a bright yellow would be good, or a bright green. I don't know. I don't know if I even want one anymore. Maybe I just don't want that checkered sweater anymore. I keep picturing in like a silky yarn, like, yeah, like something that has a little bit of a sheen. Let's see. Just making sure I'm a little bit on autopilot here, so making sure that I'm not messing up. I downloaded a bird identifying app that's really cool. Did I hear about it from Amy? I think I heard about it from Amy, the fat squirrel. Amy? And it's called Merlin, like Merlin the magician. Bird ID. Sorry, I paused because there was some outside noise that I'm gonna cut. Anyway, so it's called Merlin Bird ID. It's really cool. You just tap a button, sound ID on it, and it listens to the bird song and then tells you the birds that it's hearing. And then after it records for 10 or 20 seconds, it'll start highlighting, like if it identifies multiple birds, it'll highlight them as it hears the sound, so you can learn like what you're listening to. I really, really enjoy it. I live in a very urban area, and spring has sprung, and the last few weeks I've been hearing a lot of bird song, and I was curious what's around here. And this morning when I got up, there was just birds chirping away, really loud chirping away happening. So, and I have my windows open. My windows are always open in my apartment unless it's very cold out or very hot, because well, I'll tell you about that in a second. Yeah, so I hit the sound ID and it captured sparrows, northern mockingbird, and cardinals in the chirping, which cardinals really surprised me because they're shy birds and they usually aren't found in urban or even suburban areas. They really like, to stay, they're not very fond of living near or around people. But I do know that, like, near me is a pretty wooded area, not that far away. Where I used to live isn't all that far by miles. By the way the bird flies, it takes an hour to get there, but it probably is only about 15, 20, maybe 20 miles at the most. But also, because I live along the Hudson River, there are areas of along the Hudson River that are parks, national parks or state parks. So, in fact, there's a very big one just north of me that was donated to the state by the Rockefellers. One of the Rockefeller elders had purchased this big section of New Jersey coastline, like along the Hudson River coastline, so that he would not have an obstructed view of the cliffs and the woods. So that then became a state park. So no one will ever build there. And it's like a state park that's really dedicated for, has very limited structures and stuff in it. It's just very wooded. And there's like there's a road and that goes through it and little parking areas, but it's mostly just hiking trails and biking trails and things like that. So it's really, really cool. But it's very thin and narrow. Anyway, I know that a lot of birds fly along the coast in their migration paths. So that might be, I mean, I know cardinals do not migrate. They tend to stay where they are. So I'll be interested to see if I can still pick up cardinals in the fall and winter. So yeah, it was really cool. And that was so fun. That's such a fun app. I highly recommend it if you have birds around you and you want to know what's singing, and because they're really very active around here in the mornings and in the evenings. So yeah, fun. Fun. Oh, so talking about the heat. So my apartment was built in 1929, this building, and that was just about 8 years after the Spanish flu pandemic. And what happened with the pandemic, did I talk to you about this before? I don't think I've talked about it on a Cast On With Me episode, but I might have talked about it in Knitter's Life. What happened after the Spanish flu pandemic that killed so many people, similar to our COVID pandemic, they changed the heating regulations in apartment buildings and made them set the regulations so that the heat had to be high enough that you could have your windows open so that you would always have fresh air. So that's what we're dealing with here. I swear to God, our boiler is this massive monster downstairs. And I'm sure it's not the same as it was in 1929, but yeah, my building runs really hot. You can keep the windows open at least, a couple inches most of the time. And this morning it was really freaking unbearable. Like I walked into my kitchen and it was like a heat wave, even though I had a window open a couple inches and a ceiling fan on. So I emailed the management company and I just said, look guys, you gotta turn it off. Like my kitchen is 85 degrees, 88 degrees, and I have the windows open and a fan on, and it's really, really unbearable. So since that, I haven't heard back from them, but the heat did subside a bit, and it is much cooler in the apartment. But yeah, anyway, so I sleep with my window open almost every night. I can count on one hand how many nights I have not had the window open in the winter, in the colder months. In the summer, I have air conditioners on because it gets very hot and humid here. And it's fine in the house. I like it very cold when I sleep, so that's another reason why I have the window open in the winter time. Keeping me on the chilly side. So yeah. Well, hopefully they will. There's a massive radiator in the hallway outside that on the adjoining wall to my kitchen, and in my email this morning about oh my goodness, company, it is so freaking hot in the apartment, it's almost 90 degrees and it's only 50 degrees outside, so my apartment should not, with my windows open, should be able to be cooled down, even though all the windows are wide open. It's not happening. So I also threw in there, I just said, I really, really want you to look into whether or not you can turn that heater off. That's in the hallway on the shared wall with my kitchen, because I really think that's what contributes to the kitchen getting so hot. So we'll see if they can do that. I realized that my floor is the only floor that has a heater in the hallway. And I don't understand why. We're on the top floor, heat rises, so there's no reason for it. Turn it off. Because it's only making me miserable, and I don't think it's helping anybody else. So Anyway, that's the situation with the heat. Crazy, right? Okay, I think I've lost track of what it is I'm doing here. All right, yes. Doing my third row of knit. I'll show you in a sec. Let me just finish this row. Fun little stitch pattern. Oh, this will be so nice. This is gonna go so fast. I can't wait. I'm gonna knit it so fast. I almost always knit fingering. If you've been here a while, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know it's either fingering or DK. It's rare that I knit anything in heavier because I simply don't wear heavy sweaters. There we go. So that's the front side. And this is the back side. See it? Yeah, so the other DK sweater I have on the needles right now is Sunshine on My Shoulders, and it's going so fast. I can't wait to show you the update for that. In another week or two. I was actually supposed to go away this weekend. I was supposed to go to my friend's house in the Hamptons, and it just didn't work out. It's gonna just work out better for both of us to go next weekend, for me to go next weekend. So that'll be a fun trip with my electric car, where I'll be putting in a charge stop. It might be the last time I ever take a car out there to see him, because I could leave my car here and just take mass transit. It would be pretty easy. So I'm curious to see how long it ends up taking me to get there. Yeah, we'll see. Yesterday, I decided to fit Martha, my mannequin, with a new bra, and I ended up using one that's unlined. So when I was restuffing her, it was coming out kind of lumpy, which I was just like, oh man. I have to work on her a little bit. She's a little... It looks pretty good right now with the sweater over it, but yeah, she needs a little smoothing out. I might have to switch to a padded bra with some lining or padding. I ended up refitting her because I was measuring her and she lost a little weight. So I was like, gotta restuff her. And then I was looking at the bra and I was like, I probably should replace the bra. So yeah, ended up doing that. We'll see. I kept the old bra, so I may go back to it. Just have to see how this works. I've ended up I've gone up a little bit in my cup size, just slightly. And so I really wanted to make sure she matches me still. I didn't gain weight around the band at all. Just the cup size seems, I'd slowly been inching up, I guess, the last few years, and it was just time. So I remeasured myself yesterday too, and I've gone up an inch, which makes sense. I think it's every inch is another cup size. So yeah, so that'll just make her be a better fit model for me. But yeah, I was surprised. Never, even though I knew, like, logically I knew, because I had to buy been buying bigger bras for a while, bigger than what she'd been wearing. I guess I just thought the tissue was sort of rearranging itself as I age. I didn't realize that there was more, more in that area. Okay, I don't know how many stitches I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many rows I've done? Okay, I think I'm ready to do the next knit section. Oh, this looks really good. I like it so far. I definitely like the fabric this is creating on this needle size. Looks good, right? It's wider than I thought, than what it looks like in the picture. Like the bands of Purl, the Purl bumps. They're wider, thicker, higher. And it looks pretty good gauge-wise. So I'm supposed to get I ended up casting on 31 because I dropped a stitch. I did cast on 32. So 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This should be 4 inches once I block it. Oh yeah, yeah, pretty close. It actually looks a little bigger. Like my gauge is a little bigger. But I'll knit a few more repeats and then I will block it and check it. But I like this fabric quite a lot. I don't see any reason to, when I swatch, actually, I should explain. When I swatch, if I think the fabric is coming out too loose, I might go down a needle before, like I would change needle size now if I didn't like the fabric. Or I would, if it's too tight, I would go up a needle until I get fabric that I really like. And I think this is a really good match. These 3.75 millimeter with this yarn. Yarn feels great. It's so soft. This is going to be such a cozy sweatshirt, and it'll be perfect for like weather that's right now, and I'm not going to finish it until it's much warmer, but we get cool nights frequently around here, so it could be a nice sweater to pop on in the evenings, especially if I'm upstate or I am at the beach, out at the beach. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video and get it out to you. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep working on the swatch, and maybe I'll be back again casting on the sweater in another couple weeks. That would be fun. Would really like to do this, get this sweater going. And at some point I'll do the gym sweater swatch in the next couple weeks as well. So I just have that prepped. It's just, I consider swatching part of my prep for beginning a project. And it's always an important step just to make sure that I get the fit that I want. But now that I know that Martha's been about almost 2 inches smaller than I am, she's been, the compacting of the padding that I put in the original bra went down to about a 38.5 inch, and I'm about a 41 inch now. So it's like, oh no, she was a lot smaller. Yeah. So we'll see. And I don't know. I don't know what I attribute that increase to. It might be from my weight training, because I do a lot of strength training, especially upper body. I love training my upper body. I train my entire body, core, lower body, upper body, but I really, really love the upper body work out the most. So that might be about 6 or 7 months ago, I suddenly was able to lift more, and I wonder if there's a correlation between that and growth in my upper body muscles. Because definitely, if you ever saw me in a tank top or in a bathing suit top, you would see that I do have a lot of muscle tissue right across my upper body. And I didn't do it for the way it looks. I did it for the way I feel. I just didn't like feeling weak, physically weak. And it's really important, I think, for women to have some muscular tone, especially over 50. So something that I like about for myself. So I hope you enjoyed today's cast on with me, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. I hope I can mediate some of the external noises that happened and some of the lighting changes and stuff that happened. You can see one of my current whips right here. Very close to being done, so I hope to have that done by the next time I see you. Really hope I have it done. So yeah, I'm going to finish up this swatch and put the rest of the yarn away and work on that probably the rest of the weekend. But anyway, I hope you're well. I hope everything is going great for you, and I will see you again soon. Bye.